What's up, wifey?
Hi.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the Sports Debaters podcast with July Jordan and Coach. We're gonna have Jared join us a little bit longer, but there was a topic in the group that me and Jordan was discussing, and I told him, man, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and bring this to the podcast since it's me and you talking about this. Uh, what James Harden has to do to pass D Wade up on the all-time shooting guard list? I got my opinion. Jordan, you got your opinion. Coach, I never heard your opinion. What do you think James Harden has to do to pass D Wade up on the all-time shooting guard list?
Man, it's simple. He has to win. He averaged more points, more assists, more rebounds. He has an MVP in the regular season that D Wade doesn't have. He's a better facilitator. We all know that. D Wade was a much better defensive player. Harden has led the league in assists. But again, when it comes down to winning, when it comes down to getting it done, James Harden has flamed out in the playoffs on numerous occasions. I mean, his playoffs failures have been well documented. Dwayne Wade put a Miami Heat team on his back and had one of the greatest finals performances that we've seen in a very, very long time. Really and truly, that is the edge for him. If you're starting a team and you had a choice to pick between Dwayne Wade and James Harden, you have a lot of people that will take Harden. Personally, I'm a Dwayne Wade guy. He played on both ends of the court at a very efficient rate. And again, at the end of the day, when all the chips were on the table, when it was nut cutting time, as they say, Dwayne Wade rose to the top, led that Miami Heat team, came back from a deficit against the Dallas Mavericks and was Finals MVP. People like to point out that he had Shaq. Man, Shaq wasn't the same Shaq. Don't get me wrong, Shaq wasn't that Boston Shaq, but he wasn't the same Shaq. And Dwayne Wade put that team on his back, and we have yet to see James Harden do that. When playoff basketball comes around, James Harden kind of shrinks, and that's when Dwayne Wade played his best. So again, I think the only thing that James Harden needs to do, he needs to come through in the playoffs and hold that trophy up as, as one of those key guys. I'm not saying that, again, he plays with Kevin Durant, so he might not be the best player on the team, but he has to do his part and contribute into holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy.
Okay, what's up, Jared? You heard the question, Jared?
What's happening?
What's going on? You heard the question?
I didn't hear the question. What's the question?
The question was, what does James Harden have to do to pass Dwayne Wade up on the all-time shooting guard list?
James Harden got to do a lot, man. Just like people downplay because of the knee injuries late in his career. Like people downplay the work Dwayne Wade was doing, man. Like I think ain't he like has the most blocks by any shooting guard. Like he was a solid defender. He could score with the best of them at the time, and that was a player that needed to shoot like 3-pointers like that. And like wasn't a real big free throw shooter. Like he didn't get to the line like James Harden. It's like you gotta do a lot to catch up with Dwayne Wade, man. Dwayne Wade had a more than solid career, man. He got 3 championships. He got a Finals MVP. It's like I know LeBron got the 3 Finals MVP. He deserved them. I don't want nobody to take that like I'm slighting LeBron. How that go. But it's like in that first one, man, Dwayne Wade was still like leader of their team, even though LeBron was the best player. Like Dwayne Wade was still like leader of that team. Like this ain't no new thing. And with James Harden, it's like his numbers look nice, but I mean, if he re-signed with Brooklyn and they go on to win championships, it's like that's Kevin Durant team. Like that's well established. That's Kevin Durant team. I don't see James Harden got to have a Herculean effort along with a bad effort by Kevin Durant to get Finals MVP if they go on to win championships. So I mean, James Harden got to do a lot, man. I like James Harden. I like James Harden now. I ain't like James Harden in Houston, man. He was doing too much with the foul calls. But I like James Harden now. But he got to do a lot to catch up with Dwayne Wade, man.
So when you say James Harden, that's Kevin Durant team, but you also reference when LeBron was the best player on the team. D Wade was the leader of that first one. Their first two trips to the finals. So when we're talking about Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, because a lot of people have Steph Curry as the second greatest shooting guard, ever.
Point guard.
Point guard. My bad. Point guard. What's up?
Yeah, you over there hungover, brother.
Yeah, I'm still hungover. I'm still hungover from last night.
I know.
So you could be the six. So you could be the.
Oh, they got lost the sound.
Hello.
No, we can hear you, man.
All right, so you could be the second best player on the team and still, have that positively affect your legacy. Because Steph Curry, without those two rings, with Kevin Durant, would he still be regarded as the second best point guard ever?
Yeah.
I think it helps.
Hell yeah.
So without those two rings, without Kevin Durant, he would still be regarded as the second best point guard.
What about the two MVPs, one unanimous? What about the fact that he changed the game completely?
I know all that. But without those two rings, without Kevin Durant,
Yes.
would people put him above Isaiah Thomas? Would people still put him above Isaiah Thomas?
Yes.
Yes, they're not. They need
I
to have their head examined.
What's up, CA?
What's going on, man?
What's up? What's up? You caught the question?
Was it with D-Wade versus Harden?
Yeah. What does James Harden have? And Jordan, me and you, we're gonna get into it, but we're gonna let them go first, Jordan.
I already know, bro.
We'll let them go. What does James Harden have to do to pass D Wade up on an all-time shooting guard list?
I mean, it's not that complicated. I mean, just be a bit more consistent in the playoffs, and lead your teams to wins in the biggest stages. That's all. I mean, he done everything else. I mean, D Wade. I mean, D Wade. He has one of the greatest finals we've ever seen. So, in order to surpass him, you gotta do something. I mean, you don't gotta replicate that performance, because I don't think not many people ever has replicated that performance. But just be more consistent in the playoffs. The next 2 to 3 years. Then I'll put him above D Wade, because D Wade. The thing about D Wade, when he was in his prime, that dude was one of the better defenders in the league, and he was one of the better offensive players in the league. So, he had a lot of accomplishments in the league, although he didn't win, the regular season MVP. That's really all he didn't do. Besides that, he's pretty much excelled in everything else. So, Harden got his own thing too. He got his MVP. Assist leader, points leader. He's done all that, man. So he just the only thing he hasn't done is just win on that big stage. That's all.
Okay, so with me and Jordan, when we bump heads at, I told Jordan, I gave a one specific answer. I said all Harden has to do is win one Finals MVP. That's what I said. I said if Harden could win one Finals MVP, I think that's enough to propel him over D Wade, because of what you just said, that Harden he has the MVP. How many times Harden finished top 3 in MVP voting? Like
a lot of times.
We see how Houston looked without Harden. Like Harden, I appreciate what Harden did for Houston. Like he actually carried that franchise for some years. Jordan, I'm gonna let you respond. What do you think Harden has to do, and why do you disagree with me?
All right. Just first of all, man. Yeah, sitting here.
Hey, hold on. Hey, shout out to Spencer Waiters, man. He just had a newborn baby, so shout out to Spencer. That's all.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
That's our art designer for the show.
Big shout out to Spence, man. But I'm only giving you a half shout out because that boy still be tagging me in football posts. In all seriousness, congrats, Spence, man. Congrats on fatherhood. If I don't know if you're adding to it or your first one, congrats out the way, brother. I hear this a lot, man, and I want to start by saying James Harden is a very talented basketball player. I don't think I need to say that, but for some cats that take a lot of stuff that I say out of context, I want to say that for the sake of the discussion and the conversation. Number two, and James Harden will go down as one of the greatest players that have played the game. Coach and I be on the same wavelengths with a lot of different things, man. And he took a lot of my reasoning or my answers for this discussion because Dwayne Wade plays both sides of the ball. Now, before I even give my take, if you talk to majority of real Houston Rockets fans, like legit Houston Rockets fans, they hate James Harden. Like, they literally hate James Harden.
Somebody got some feedback?
No.
Somebody eating chips for breakfast.
No, I was just pulling out something on my bag, bro.
Nah, you good, bro. I want to make sure that my take is not over the top, so I go and like interview legit team fans that I'm not a fan of. So I go talk to them. I've talked to 3 different Houston Rockets players, Houston Rockets fans, and they all despise James Harden. For one of them is in another group. It's a group me. I don't know if y'all really have it, but I had pulled it up for this discussion. And I asked dude, I was in another group and I screenshot it to my homie that's in one group. And dude said real Houston fans never liked him. His first 2 seasons with Dwight done it. No leadership ability, lack of winning mentality, just a lackluster superstar. I hate his style of playing, like the list goes on. And this is coming from a Houston Rockets fan, not me. To get on to the actual topic, they kind of waver in different ways. Harden is a gifted and talented offensive player. But when you shut that down in the playoffs, what is he? Can anybody answer that for me? How does he contribute to the team?
Facilitate.
Okay, cool. So when he's facilitating, why didn't those assists still equate in the playoffs that they did in the regular season?
I mean, when Mike D'Antoni was running things, they didn't equate because guys wasn't hitting shots, and that goes on coaching because how you run your team, like shoot a 3 or make a layup. That's how they ran. That's how Mike D'Antoni ran his team.
That kind of go on coaching.
Say again?
Like that's kind of on coaching, but it's like if you a coach and you got a star player like James Harden, he does, or who commands the ball like he does, you have no other choice but to play around that. So you look at all the James Harden years in Houston and all the various players that played with James Harden. I'm talking everybody from a player like Russell Westbrook to
You going out, Jared? Y'all can
a
hear
player
him?
like can you hear me?
Y'all can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. So you look at a player like James Harden out in Houston those last few years, and all the players that came to play with James Harden. Everybody from Dwight Howard to Russell Westbrook to even like role players like Eric Gordon and things like that, and Clint Capella. It's like people down talk Dwight Howard and the places he went after he left Orlando. But you look at them numbers in Houston, Dwight Howard was still like some variation of Orlando Dwight Howard, especially in the playoffs, where his numbers were significantly better. And it just didn't work with James Harden. Those numbers that he was putting up, it just didn't work. Then a player like Clint Capella, y'all paid them that kind of money. And he played well, but he didn't play well with James Harden is a regular season star, but in the playoffs, all those things that you see from James Harden, a lot of James Harden offense is generated by free throws and generating that contact. So in the playoffs, and what people know in the playoffs that happen all the time is those calls don't get called that often in the playoffs. You don't get the foul calls you get in the regular season playoffs. That's for everybody. So if your offense is based off of drawing contact and you get to the playoffs and they don't call whistles like that, then your offense suffers. So you see James Harden with the rule change, he's having a hard time adjusting. Now, I think he adjusts. I think he's good enough offensively that he adjusts like he did last night. However, you can see the difference where those whistles don't get called. And that's not taking away anything from his offensive skill set. I think he has a good handle. I think he can do a lot of things. But you look at James Harden that year where they had those years they had Chris Paul. Chris Paul is a facilitator. If he ain't nothing else, he can move the ball better than anybody. But James Harden demanded the ball to the point where it became a disagreement on the team that you're dribbling the ball too much. Like, you need to create some offense. So it's like, I can't put that on the coach because James Harden liked to play like that. So when he went to Brooklyn that first year, James Harden changed his game. You had to be the facilitator first and then the scorer. There was games last year that I got in the group and I complained. I was like, duh, James Harden got to be old James Harden for them to win these games because I need more offense from him. It's good that he became a facilitator first, but I need you to be a scorer first in some of these games. And so now without Kyrie Irving, now he has to be that scorer first. And it's an adjustment period because he spent all last season being a facilitator first. Now he's not getting those foul calls. So I think James Harden is limited with how he gets his offense, or he has been limited all these years on how to get his offense. I think he adjusts, but that's why I can't put him over Dwayne Wade by getting one Finals MVP. It's like, you got to do more than that. Dwayne Wade was solid in the playoffs for like several years straight, and early in his career, he was solid in the playoffs. That first championship was what, 3 years in, and the performance he put on. Come on.
So
I can see.
What? Oh, go ahead, Jordan. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can see. I need to finish my points before Coach or Jared take any more of my what I'm gonna say, because I'm telling you, it's like one is on one side of my head and the other's on the other. Like, I can't say nothing. So let me finish before one of them give up another point that I was going to make. Jared hit on a lot of stuff that I was going to discuss as well. So I pulled up just to make sure I'm not just talking from a biased opinion standpoint, because many people know that Dwayne Wade is my first favorite player. All respects and shout out to Kobe, but my brother was a Kobe fan. I'm still a Kobe fan, but sibling rivalry, even though I love Kobe, I wanted my own player. So I fell in love with D-Wade since Marquette, and I just kind of loved him even more when me and my brother bumped heads about Kobe. But anyway, I'm looking at the accolades right now in the career highlights. Harden has 6 all-time first NBA teams, 6 all-NBA first teams. Dwayne Wade has 8 total, 2 first time, 3 second time, not second time, first team, 3 second team, 3 third team. So he has 8 total. So Harden still got some more time, of course. And D-Wade, we also had the bad knee since Marquette. Y'all getting a lot of feedback from me, or y'all can hear me? He had, of course, all rookie first team, some other things you can kind of bounce back and forth about. Harden has a lot of the offensive accolades: scoring champion, assist leader, obviously the MVP. D-Wade was definitely a both sides of the ball player. We have Jordan number 1, Kobe number 2. And then we're going to possibly put another player who was ghost on defense, if not didn't play defense, if not didn't impact the defense at all. Number 2, we heard from Houston Rockets fans, you heard from Jared, as well as you heard from everybody else that he has to win in the playoffs. But I think that we fail to remember that year that Kawhi got hurt in the playoffs and he lost to the Spurs that had no Kawhi. I think we fail to realize that time that they let Golden State come back and beat them. I think they was up 3-1 as well. Even though, of course, Golden State has their fair share of 3-1 losses. We can get on that.
It was up 3-2.
3-2, excuse me, my bad, 3-2. Not to mention that, as Jared said, the rotation of players that they had in and out of Houston If this was any other player, as we all know, if this was LeBron, LeBron wouldn't hear this to the end of the world. Oh, you play with this person, play with that person, that. We all know that. Harden, they tried to bet the same way they tried to do Melo. Houston had a knack for this. I'm not giving Houston no kind of props or shout outs, man, because Houston tried to bury Melo when Melo wasn't doing what he's supposed to. They just wanted Melo to spot up in the corner, let James, Charles Barkley said it best: dribble, 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 dribble. Dribble, dribble. I hate the dribbler. He said pass it out with 3 seconds left and expect everybody to hit the shot. So y'all talking about his teammates weren't producing. If you sitting in the corner for 20 seconds of the 24-second shot clock and receive it with 2 seconds left, dog, and I'm supposed to produce from that, that's not ideal. Number two, CP came over from a phenomenal Clippers run. Obviously, they wasn't winning because of CP. They shipped him off to OKC. Everybody expected CP career to die over there, bro. Everybody expected him to be out of the league after that next year. Now he just signed a 4-year with the Suns and had a major impact at his age with his run with the Suns. Not to mention Westbrook. They brought Westbrook over there. He did his thing. Now Westbrook was the problem. Nobody ever looks at James Harden to be the problem. You heard from that Rockets fan, lackluster leadership. So when he's not getting those fouls called, how is he impacting the game? Because you're dribbling and you only play for 2 teammates late in the shot clock, not impacting your team on defense. You don't have any kind of leadership qualities to where you're pumping your team up, trying to lead by example. Dwayne Wade goes out and guards the other team's best player. Same thing Jordan did, same thing Kobe did. So of course he'll be the third best shooter on the list, even though I'm kind of biased. Number two, as Coach said, he leads all shooting guards, everybody in blocks. He has the NBA record for that. So he took pride on both sides of the ball. And when you hear some D-Wade interviews, he said that. He said he took pride in that, of course, because it's more than just offense. And I feel like in that avenue, right now, today, the NBA changed and implemented the rule because James Harden and many other players, not just him, was averaging 10 plus free throws a game of just the flailing or the touch fouls. They had people guarding James Harden with their hands behind his back, behind their back, because the slightest hint or thought that he touched him, he's getting 3 free throws or he's getting 2 free throws.
Hey, who fault is that?
I'm not saying no, it's not James Harden's fault. It's like he said, he found a way to manipulate the system and work within it, and he used it, and that's great. But now, since the fans have spoke out about it, NBA players have spoke out about it, and we're seeing it now, his production has dropped drastically because he had his defense at his mercy, where they're hesitant to even play hard on him. And any kind of idea that he gives any kind of body movement or any kind of acting, he's getting the foul calls. So now his points per game rises. Right now, I think he's averaging like maybe 18 or 19 or maybe 20, whatever the case is. He spoke out about it like, oh, a foul's a foul. My thing is that D-Wade played hard. We all know the finals run. He carried the Miami Heat franchise as well before LeBron came for years as far as on his back, playing in the East and doing what he had to get him to the playoffs. Granted, it didn't amount to much, but he did carry them, and that transitioned over into playoffs from the regular season. When he got paired with another superstar, first year was called, of course, that trial year. LeBron was being the villain, but after they worked through that, Miami won 2 rings, and they made it to the finals every year. So my thing is, bro, is that it's much more than just winning the finals MVP. Because I don't think we're really looking at, and I think we have memory loss in a lot of ways of how D-Wade impacted the game, what D-Wade did for his team, how D-Wade was a big influence even when superstars came there. Because right now, like Jared just said, Kyrie's not there, so we need you to be James Harden of old. James Harden looks out of shape. James Harden looks like he's kind of like going through the motions at times. Cool, you force your way out of Houston after the whole franchise built everybody and anything around you, kept chess piecing players in and out around you. And Wade was just over there working with what he had. So in conclusion, because I don't want to harp on this too long, that's my defense as far as the Dwayne Wade topic. It's much more than him just winning the Finals MVP, because as I think I forgot old dude's name. I think he said or brought it up. He's gonna have to get that Finals MVP as well. That's just in my opinion, because yes, he did get the MVP and he did play well, and I'm not taking from that. But we all see how that Mike D'Antoni system has never worked, has not worked, and won't work. because they're trying to mimic and imitate what Golden State is doing, but Golden State is much more intricate in how they move the ball. Even though it usually ends up in Steph and Clay's hands, their play styles and play calling and offense is a lot more detailed and specific. So that's my take on it. It's much more than just a Finals MVP for me or a championship that cats be trying to dethrone Wade and make it seem like he just got that third best title by default. But that's just my opinion, bro. And I feel like Harden has a lot more to do and a lot more to end up on. There's a compilation of James Harden's defense of just letting people go by him, or just that's a whole nother topic. But to me, that's my take on it. That's why I said it's much more than just him winning, and that's why he has more work to do.
Hey, I just want to give it. Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm be real quick. I'm gonna be real quick. This is why I think it's only gonna take one Finals MVP. I'm gonna keep it simple. James Harden in the playoffs averages more points, has more points, averages more assists, has more assists, averages more rebounds, has more rebounds in the playoff. In the season, same thing. All NBA, you talking about DWADE and Wade has more All NBA teams, but when you look at All NBA first teams, that means James Harden was the best at his position more times than DWADE was the best at his position. I'm saying all James Harden needs is one Finals MVP. Because we're saying that James Harden, I give you that. Hey, I give you that San Antonio series. Like, I give you that. Like, he blew that series. Kawhi injured Game 6. Houston still get blown out. If you talk about the Rockets fans hated him, ask them same Rockets fans how much they miss him right now.
They don't. All of them said it. They said they're cool with the rebuild. All of them. All of them said they're down to rebuild.
I call bullshit on that because I go to plenty Rockets. I go to plenty Rockets game. Matter of fact, I'm going to the Rockets and Portland game November the 12th. They miss James Harden, bro. The Rockets, they miss.
Hey, Kenny.
What's up?
I also like to point out numbers that he got better than Dwayne Wade. He also got more turnovers, and we've seen in the playoffs several times of Houston losing on the back of James Harden.
I mean, to be fair though, I mean, James Harden's a high volume player. Like a lot of high volume players might have a lot of turnovers.
Oh no! The turnovers are not the bad thing.
Yeah,
it's the fact that in the playoffs we've seen them lose series behind the terrible play of James Harden, not because he's not getting the calls, so his shooting is not good, or he's turning the ball over. When they lost to the Warriors in 2015, 2016, he set the NBA record for turnovers in the game, trying to force it, and then like a later year, the year that Chris Paul got hurt, like they missed like 40 or something straight 3-pointers from like game whatever to the last game. It's like they were taking ill-advised shots, and it was led by James Harden taking the ill-advised shot, or like you pointed out earlier, or people just standing around waiting for James Harden to stop dribbling the ball and then pass it to me with 4 seconds left, and I got to hoist up a 3-pointer. So I mean, the numbers are good. That's why he's what he is. That's why I believe that he can adjust.
That's why I say all it takes is one Finals MVP. That's why I think because he got D-Wade when it comes to numbers, and when it comes to numbers and individual accomplishments, he got D-Wade. Like he got.
He ain't got D-Wade on person game, man.
Hey, hold on.
Defense don't mean as much as offense. If defense meant as much as offense, Dennis Rodman would be the best power forward ever. Defense don't mean as much as offense.
We're not gonna detract the value defense like that either, though. I'm not.
It is what it is. No. Be honest. If defense meant as much as offense, Dennis Rodman would be the greatest power forward ever.
But Dwayne Wade, Dennis Rodman didn't have the offense. He just had all defense.
But look. When it comes to offense, James Harden is blowing Dwayne Wade out the water, though.
And when it comes to defense, Dwayne Wade is blowing James Harden out the water. So if we see early Dwayne Wade can give you 30 points a game in the regular season and then have a tremendous playoff run, you know what his offense is. You know he can put up the offense, and that's doing that with less free throw attempts and no three pointers like that. He got the same points that James Harden was getting without free throws and 3-pointer attempts.
Dwayne Wade prime wasn't as long as James Harden prime. James Harden 32 right now, and people still looking for James Harden to be that superstar player. When Dwayne Wade was 32, he was already submitted in that secondary part of his career.
So as a tremendous career as James Harden had already, we still looking for him to be that superstar. There lies the problem. Dwayne Wade was that superstar early.
D-Wade had two options because he's been having knee problems since Marquette. So they said you can take the knee surgery and we can see if you're going to be the same player that you are, or just continue that therapy and rehab and kind of weigh it out and thug it out and see where we go from here. And that's what cut off D-Wade's not legacy, longevity in the league as far as
it is what it is. I mean,
I'm not trying to make that as an excuse, but as Jared just said as well, Harden has had multiple playoff runs to where that boy has gone ghost. That year that CP has gotten hurt, they would have taken the Warriors out. That's their year. They would have killed the Warriors, this and that. Next year they came back, everybody healthy. It's nothing now. Oh man, they just can't get past the Warriors. What happened?
I think Curry was hurt too for us.
Hey, hold on, wait, hold on. Let me give a little pushback here because I'm of the mindset I don't even think James Harden needs the Finals MVP to cement his legacy here. Again, we forgetting that the James Harden we saw in Houston is not really his fault. Mike D'Antoni told his team not to play defense. There's stories of guys going into the lane and a guy steps up and Mike D'Antoni asks him, "What are you doing?" Just get the ball out the net because we want to push the ball up the court. Defense was never stressed in Houston. So we can't put that just on James Harden. That was a style of play thing. Secondly, we've never seen Mike D'Antoni style work in any setting. He had Steve Nash. It didn't work. He had Carmelo Anthony. It didn't work. He had James Harden. It didn't work. We've all seen the 7-second or less offense fall apart in the playoffs. That's the one thing that 7 seconds or less offense has, no matter who's running it. All right. So you can't put all the onus on James Harden. Second, we talk about that Golden State Warrior loss that they had. You remember that it took 27 straight missed 3-pointers for them to lose to the Golden State Warriors. James Harden didn't shoot all 27 of those things. Secondly, ain't no shame in losing into the Warriors, guys. That was one of the best constructed teams in NBA history. A lot of teams got their ass kicked by the Warriors. All right. Again, James Harden does have his playoff failures, but let's not act like Dwayne Wade didn't lose multiple first round series after that first title. He lost a bunch of first round playoff series. At least James Harden did get further in the playoffs than Dwayne Wade did on a consistent basis. Dwayne Wade, it was an outstanding defensive player. There's nothing to take about. There's no takeaway from that. But if you look at what James Harden does offensively, it comes out just a little bit more than what Dwayne did defensively. All right. And the reason why I don't think he's a Finals MVP to cement his legacy is because he has that regular season MVP that Dwayne Wade never got his hands on. All right, so it shows the player that he is. He went from being a black hole. Let's call it what it is. If you look at D'Antoni's system, there was only one person that handled the ball majority of the time. Steve Nash had the ball 85% of the time. Carmelo Anthony, with the jab, step, dribble, drive, had the ball in his hand 85% of the time. That's just D'Antoni's offense. It's not for two guys that dominate the ball. So Chris Paul would never have worked. Playing along with Russell Westbrook, it would never have worked because those guys need to have the ball in their hands as well. All right. So the fact that he can actually transition to play in Brooklyn, where he could be now a more facilitative role, where they even said, "Hey, you have to play point guard. Kyrie's gonna play 2. I'm gonna play off the ball. You have to handle the lion's share of the facilitation duties," and he fit that role perfectly. We're acting like that they're not a turned ankle away from and a big toe from not playing in the NBA Finals. So again, they're my pick to come out of the East this year, and I think if the Brooklyn Nets go to back-to-back finals and James Harden does his job and averages 18 and 11 on 46% shooting, and he actually holds his role and they win 2 rings, I think that's it's enough for him to for we have to have this conversation again as far as legacy, as far as what does he rank with Dwayne Wade. I mean,
I'm not
not
to
cut you off. Hold on. I got a different time. Not to cut you off. Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. If y'all know Tommy Fury, that's Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah.
The fight is official Saturday, December 18th. Just to let y'all know.
Tyson Fury who?
No, Tommy Fury. That's Tyson.
His brother. Yeah.
Is he an actual boxer?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is.
He's legit too. He's legit. Like this gonna be Jake Paul toughest matchup.
Man,
So
okay. Matchup. I hope somebody really knock this boy out, not just do it for the money. If somebody truly.
I'm about to say, I'm intrigued because he an actual boxer.
That's what I'm saying, and he's legit.
I mean, the only thing is, bro, with these contracts, like sometimes you're not allowed to knock people out. Like Floyd basically said, like he wasn't allowed to knock Logan Paul out. Like
yeah, but you can see in the video Floyd holds this boy up.
Yeah,
man.
I know that. I saw that. Yeah.
Man, I ain't even watched the last fight, bro. But after I found out that's what it is, like obviously entertainment, but like they obviously can't knock him out or whatever. So now I'm good because he knocked Nate. No, he made Nate look bad. That was a setback for us. So yeah.
Hey, listen, bro. I watch everything for free, so I ain't tripping. It is what it is.
No, trust me, I haven't paid.
Hey man, Nate had no business in that boxing ring. Nate had no business going into that ring. There's a reason there's weight classes in boxing.
Coach, before we get back to the Dwayne Wade topic, I will say that I fell for the okie doke.
That boy got everything he deserved in that boxing ring.
Nate's confidence had me believing in him, had me believing that he was going to for sure take care of him and do all that stuff.
You crazy, boy.
Yeah, I fell. I'm not gonna lie to you. I fell for the confidence.
Hey Jay, I'm gonna keep it real. I almost fell for it too when I saw the tail of the tape. 5'7", 6'3", 185, 225. It don't work like that. In this it don't work.
I'm bigger than Nate Robinson, and I'm barely big. So
I saw some good fights with those same credentials, coach, and that 5'8" took care of business. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, man,
it's different than the sweet science. Remember that.
Unless that boy in that Manny Pacquiao juice, he wasn't gonna win.
Man, to transition back, I'm a rebuttal coach a little bit, man. My thing is that Harden also had what a lot of people were not discussing. Harden had those pieces moved around him. After that championship with D-Wade, yes, he did get bounced, but he got his team to the finals as well. And when they implemented all these different people to come and interchange out around Harden, Wade wasn't getting that. Wade literally put the team on his back and kept running to the playoffs as best he can with whatever he had to work with. And I feel like it's going to take more than just a championship, bro. Like he's going to have multiple playoff appearances. You can't just erase off that San Antonio appearance. You can't just erase off the Golden State appearance. And even though I agree with you, Coach, Golden State did beat the best of them and was a great constructed team, but Houston was the heavily regarded favorites. Because that year that CP got hurt, they said when they came back healthy, everybody was waiting for that series because they was waiting for Houston to take out Golden State. That was the expectation.
Let me ask you this. Did you think Houston was going to beat Golden State?
I'm a Curry fan, so no, I didn't.
I didn't think so either. So that's what I'm saying. You could be favored all you want, but let's keep it real. Let me ask you this: how many times did Dwayne Wade get to the Eastern Conference Finals without LeBron? Besides that first title,
he did. I'm not gonna sit there. I'm not gonna sit there and play it out. But once again, we're not bringing up how to. If everybody the same way with Bron, the same way with James Dodd, we gotta be consistent and bring up the pieces that's being moved around him. Yes, it's on management. Yes, it's on the team. But we gotta also implement that as well, playing with other stars, other superstars. Harden had Westbrook, Paul, and Dwight, and a slew of other people that it was some integral pieces put around him as well. D-Wade went out there and rolled with the best of it, whatever was on the team with him. He just rolled with it. It still got his team to the playoffs.
You talking about how we give LeBron flack? LeBron and James Harden not in the same universe when we talk about this. So let's put that to the
No. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. I'm not putting it like that. I'm not putting it like that. I'm using it as an example. So we gotta understand.
But we gotta understand when we're talking about tiers of players. Has Westbrook worked out anywhere he's been? Let's keep it funky. Has worked out anywhere he can. Kevin Durant said, I'd rather go play with people that beat me than to keep playing with your ass. He's flamed out in Houston. He's flamed out in Washington. He's going to flame out in LA. I love Westbrook's heart, his intensity, but he doesn't play winning basketball. It is what it is. Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant basically said, I don't want you here anymore. I need you to get the fuck from around me. Point blank period. Dwight Howard, after he left Orlando, once the back issues and he became a shell of himself. So again, I'll listen to your argument about the CP3 being a
Wait a minute.
fit for Harden. I listen to CP3, but Russell Westbrook and Howard. No, I'm not listening to that.
Hold on. You going off of personality.
I'm not
the
going
Dwight Howard numbers in Houston was really good.
I'm going off of play.
No. You can't be, because the Dwight Howard numbers in Houston were really good.
Were they the same in Orlando?
Russell Westbrook numbers, that was his best shooting in his career.
Were they the same in Orlando?
They can't be the same in Orlando, coach. We got dribble.
That's the system I'm in. That's not my fault. My coach told me.
But he still produced.
You can't equate that, coach.
Yeah, he was a rim runner, just like Clint Capella was a rim runner. When a guy dribble and goes around a few picks, you throw the alley up.
When you giving me a 20-point double in the playoffs, man, I'm saying you produce it. And Russell Westbrook best shooting numbers when he was in Houston.
Okay, was he still a turnover machine?
So was James Harden.
Oh, that's okay. You're proving my point. That
system
wasn't conducive for those two. Yes, it does. It really does.
You're talking about LeBron James and him not being in the same tier of players. Nobody's comparing the two. We're talking about star players being catered to.
Yep.
But again, you don't know. No, you're not understanding what I'm saying. All stars aren't created equal. Just because you're a star player, that doesn't mean
that doesn't matter. They still are catered to. It's like they still get the players that they want.
It doesn't matter. If I don't have the same talent, you can put as many people as you want around me. It doesn't matter. I'm not that top tier player.
So dog, you can't give that same dog. You can't say that for Harden and then give flack to Wade for that as well, and we not having the same.
I didn't give Wade flack.
Hold on. But I feel like y'all giving the Wade a pass because y'all said we can't forget
exactly.
Let me talk about this.
If you remember, I said I'm not giving him a pass because he did lose in the playoffs. I said he got his team there with no help.
And Harden got his team further
with help. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, hold on. That year, the year Golden State won their first finals when they beat Houston in the Western Conference Finals when Dwight Howard was injured. Tell me the other help that James Harden had.
Well, I was just told that he's this great player. They got all his teammates involved as well with everybody that was there.
No, don't try to move the goalposts. Tell me the all-star that James Harden had.
So Kenny, in that same breath, y'all talking about Dwayne Wade got eliminated in the first round every year after the championship. Tell me the all-star that he played with. We comparing them two, not everybody else.
Hold on. Hold on. Kind of constant my part. I would say my biggest problem with James Harden is not necessarily that his playoff failures, because obviously that San Antonio series was pretty bad, but besides the little San Antonio failure, yes, he could have played better. Of course, he could have played better. But using to the Warriors is not really it's not really, to me, that's not a game changer if you lose to the Warriors. I mean, they're a great team, but to me, I'll say my biggest issue with James Harden I just think his leadership is his biggest flaw to me. Like Russell Westbrook said, when he left Houston, he said himself the culture was toxic. They just coddled James Harden. James Harden would come late to film room, and they just coddled to that man. They wouldn't start stuff on time just to coddle to James Harden. To me that's James Harden's biggest issue. He just wasn't a really good leader. But I can't destroy him for his like I said, his playoff failures, because he could play better, but D-Wade don't have don't have the picture perfect playoff resume either. I mean, yeah, he played pretty well in that first finals. You know, when LeBron disappeared, he played well. But he had one of the greatest finals runs ever. But but besides, but when he was with LeBron, he had those few playoff runs. But when he was by himself, he had that one finals run. But it wasn't really much to talk about besides that. But I mean, it's just close. But to me, I just think I don't think James Harden got to do a whole bunch like Justin's saying. But just have about 2 or 3 good playoff runs, and I think I can put James Harden above D-Wade because James Harden's career it's just been so good so far, and we haven't really seen a big drop off. When D-Wade hit 30, 31, we saw a solid drop off. We haven't seen that yet from James Harden. So, you got to put that in consideration. And also, James Harden. I like how James Harden played last year in Brooklyn. I'm hoping he can bring that back because to me, he looked before he pulled his hamstring, he was looking like the best player in the world in my opinion. Like he was scoring, especially when KD got hurt. That man was scoring the ball, and that ball was facilitating at a very high level. Like to me, if James Harden can bring that second half of Brooklyn back, it's over, bro.
I think
he did play with Shaq. Yes, he did play with the Heatles. Did he have all the moving parts around him as much as Harden did?
But he can score. Like I said earlier, he can score with the best of them. I think he adjusts and he'll be fine. But the fact that he looks to pass first now, as opposed to when he was in Houston, where he looked to score and then boom, I'm gonna shoot it to you and hope you make the shot. I mean, and he led the league in assists one of those years, so he can facilitate.
He's having trouble.
I got it. I mean, it always takes. It's gonna take James Harden a bit to adjust because Kyrie's not there. We're expecting Kyrie to be there, so it's gonna take him to adjust. Just like last year when he first came to Brooklyn, he wasn't the same James Harden. But it took about 10 games, and once he got in, he started playing like James Harden. I think it's gonna be like that this year. I think he's gonna find him. He's gonna find himself, and it's gonna be fine, bro.
Was very interesting. If the NBA would have implemented this no touch foul rule years ago, I would have loved to see his contribution to his points then. Because that's what I'm hearing so much about with the offense and what have you as well with him. I would have loved to see his contributions then as well, especially when we hear with his leadership and all these other things as well.
I mean, we can't do
every loss right now on Dwayne Wade's side was Dwayne Wade. But every loss on Harden's side was his teammates. And that's what I'm hearing. Just like with the organization.
No, that's false. That is false. That is false. You know what?
No, hold on.
I ain't with that, bro.
Man, you create your own narrative.
LeBron James get all the heat for them losing.
I'm not finished, fools. Let me finish. What I'm saying is when CP was there, it was CP's fault. When Westbrook was there, it was Westbrook's fault. When Dwight Howard was there, it was Dwight Howard's fault. That was their fault for them not producing and going from there.
I don't think that. I think when he was with Westbrook, I thought when he was.
I'm not saying y'all fools said that on the podcast. I'm talking about in general. The narrative.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm talking about in general.
Our job here is not to speak general. Our job on the sports debaters is to speak the facts and give the different side of it.
And those were the facts.
No. That's not the fact. You just said those are narratives. Narratives aren't facts. Facts speak for themselves. We're not going to sit here and say that that Westbrook and Harden were ever going to work. Let's keep it real with ourselves here. That was never going to work.
I didn't hear that until after Westbrook left. But continue.
So let me ask you this. When Westbrook got to Houston, did you say, "Oh yeah, man, they're a title town to contender now"? Did you say that to yourself? Keep it G.
I said it 13 times in the sports debaters room.
That you thought that was going to be conducive to actual winning?
Yep.
No. Yeah.
I mean, to me, the biggest thing that to me, they had a good formula going before Russ's injury. To me, I like how they look. To be honest, I ain't gonna lie to you. I like how they were looking.
Before we get to the players, I said it multiple. I ain't said it in the sports debaters group, but I said it in my group meet, my sports group meets all the time. Mike D'Antoni was the Achilles heels to Houston.
Yeah,
period.
I agree.
I said it to everybody. I said Harden right now. I said Harden needs a better coach because what he tried to do is reincarnate the Phoenix Suns into Houston and put
Exactly.
Houston. Try to put Harden with
Didn't he have
Nash.
the same problem with Kevin McHale?
So he tried to put Harden with Nash. I'm not gonna go through the lineups, but that's what I saw. And I said when he stole that Coach of the Year award because Houston was #1 and Harden was doing crazy numbers. His offensive strategy is great, I feel, at times, but it's not championship winning caliber to me, just in general. So
Never was.
Just to me, that's what I'm saying is that I feel, don't get me wrong, Harden has to take his fair share as well. But to me, I felt like the brunt of all of this should have been Mike D'Antoni first. And I would have loved to see where this could have gone with a better system, of course, from there. And to me, once again, we've all seen star players get into it with their coaches. For you to allow a coach to say that, man, we're not going to play defense, we're not going to do that, whatever the case is, and y'all run with it and just let that happen. Like, coach, I mean, I don't know how many of y'all hoop, dog. I don't know how many of y'all play ball. Imagine y'all playing pickup and niggas say, hey, dog, just don't worry about playing defense. We just going to score. No, I'm not. I'm just in general, dog. To me, the competitor in me, that wouldn't have flown.
Let me just interject one thing, bro. And this is kind of off subject, but it's on subject. You got to think about when James Harden got there. He signed a max deal with the Houston Rockets, and he was also making $27.5 million from Adidas, living in H-Town with V Live. You telling me I ain't got to play defense and I'm getting $40 million and go see his ass after the game? It's man. $40 million man in H-Town? In the H. Come on, baby. What we talking about here? I'm at Prairie View coming every year, baby.
They said that boy could not stay away from the clubs for real to not get off something too much.
Hey, listen here. They say that boy jersey's hanging in the raft at V Live. Man, that boy done paid more tuition than the NWCP. You feel me?
Hey, y'all! I just want to give a quick shout out to Jarvis Harmon. This wonderful post he posted today. Join this competition. CA, what's your thoughts about this, CA?
What's about George Thomas competition?
Yeah,
I don't think the Niners was a really good era of basketball. I mean, but that to me, I just think competition.
Stop.
Yeah.
Please explain before you continue why the Niners was not a good era of basketball.
I just think the competition pool wasn't that large. I mean, you had your
What year you was born in, my G? What year you was born?
I was born in 04.
Don't worry about it.
This is enough.
It's good.
I mean, if you look, I just think now that there's much more talent. And that's just how it is.
I agree with you. There's more talent, but the Niners played some ball, my dog. But you just wasn't.
I'm not saying they didn't play ball. I'm not saying they didn't play ball. I'm just talking about. I'm just comparing the competition pool to other eras. It wasn't the greatest. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it was a bad era of basketball. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm just saying what all the expansion teams that came in the 90s, they watered down the era. That's all I'm trying to say.
Coach, we're going to dig into that, but finish, bro.
They watered down the era, but the all-time leading assist leader, the all-time leading steals leader, and the second
I already told there was great
points of
players
all time were on the same team. You got to think about the the person who scored the second most points all time, the all-time assist leader, and the all-time steals leader, and for the longest time, the all-time three-point percentage leader were all on the same team.
You're not hearing what I'm just saying there was great players. I'm not taking that away. I love John. I love what John Stockton did for the game. Like I'm not taking that away. I'm saying there was great players. I just think besides those great players, there wasn't much to account for. That's all I'm telling you. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So
I'm not saying there wasn't great players at all because that's just a lie. I'm not saying that.
No, I'm not saying that. You said that the league was diluted. How can you have?
I'm just saying it was diluted because there wasn't
on the same team.
Huh?
How you have four great record holders on the
like
same
I said,
team?
You had like I said in the East, the Bulls were coming out. In the East, the Bulls were coming out, and then in the West, it was whoever was at the top that year. But that's how it was.
Hey, look, let me just. Let me just give you just a little quick back. Before the Bulls, it was the Celtics. We act like there's so much parity in sports. Before the Bulls, it was the Celtics. We act like for a decade plus, it was either the Lakers or the Spurs coming out of the West. There's not parity in the NBA. And for the last 10 years, whatever jersey LeBron put on, that team is coming out. There's no parity. There's your 3 or 4 marquee teams, and then there's the 2 teams that everybody knows going to make it. Let's keep it cheap.
Hey, first off, before we continue, what's your name again, my dude?
My name is CA3.
Oh, I don't know. I'll call you CA. I don't know. I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, you call me CA. It don't matter.
I'm about to say, dog. Everybody get a nickname, dog. I'm not saying Coach and James Ball, like all that. It's gonna be Coach. Or it's gonna be Coach J or something. but anyway, dog. You know why I know this post is trash, and it went to crap. Just a whole. I don't know if he's trolling or if he's serious. In this same thread, that boy just had the audacity and the balls to type out Luka greater than Larry Bird.
Hell no.
Hell no. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I ain't gonna worry about that post. Don't even worry about that post.
Yeah, yes, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't get me wrong. Nobody will ever disagree with the talent of today's NBA. Period. I want to start there. Nobody would. Coach and I, anybody, we would never disagree with that. But just like I asked him on that post, if the 90s were so trash, if those 2 guys, because the post said that Stockton and Hornacek wouldn't make a practice squad in today's NBA. So therefore, within the next 5 years,
he's overreacting.
I don't know if you can agree with me, Coach. In the next 5 years, I need somebody in today's NBA to take the all-time assist record. Period.
It gotta happen. It gotta happen.
I mean,
Coach, hold on. He just said that Stockton would not make a practice
that's cap.
So I want to see within the next 5 years somebody take his assist record and also move Karl Malone from number 2. Period.
Look at my response to that post.
You know why that's funny?
Look at my response to that post.
No, but I think I misconstrued what I said. I have respect for a lot of the top players in the 90s. Don't get it messed up. And I still have Jordan above a lot of players because to me Jordan, out of all the players ever, to me he dominated his specific era more than anybody we've ever seen. Just one specific era of basketball, he just dominated. And you can't control what era you were born in. So I'm not going to take credit away from Jordan just because I have some issues with the era that he played in. I'm not going to take that away from him. I still give him credit for that. I just think the competition. I just think the talent depth was just a little lower than some of the other areas of basketball. That's all I had. That's my only problem with it.
But
I think I get what you're saying, CA.
No, that's all.
I honestly do get what you're saying when it comes to you think there was less talent in the 90s.
That's all I'm saying.
But when it comes, I agree 100% with Coach when he talked about the parity in the NBA, because if you do like 2000s, 90s, 80s, 70s, like it's just being a couple of teams like you said, in the 80s, the Lakers and Celtics. I think Houston snuck in and got in the finals one year in the Western Conference. But besides that, I think that was it. And Portland, no, that was in 90. When Portland played Houston, that was in 90. Well, besides that year, Houston snuck in and got in the finals. I mean, that was it. There's never really been.
But to me, the biggest difference between I would say the parity, like in the 90s compared to other eras, to me, the Bulls at their peak, they were just so much better than everybody else, bro. It wasn't even close, bro. They were so much better than everybody else.
I'm glad you said that. If they were so much better than everything, why is Jordan's last shot of his career was a shot to win the series if the Jazz was that trash? Why were all these games so close? Why do all these games go down to the wire? If all these guys were janitors and plumbers and substitutes,
I didn't say the Jazz were bad at all. I mean, they had their flaws, but I'm not saying they were bad. I mean, they had Karl Malone and John Stockton on the same team. They're not a bad team. Don't get it messed up. But the Bulls were old. Like it should be. It should have at least been. I mean, you would think the Jazz should have beat the Bulls. I mean, just considering the ages of the Bulls. at that
But
time.
even-
They
even-
should
even
have.
early-
They had a bald-headed guy named Michael Jeffrey Jordan. If you go back and look at that series, that season, Scottie Pippen only played half a season with a bad back. There's actually videos of the final of every time he had come out the game, they was rubbing his lower back. Dennis Rodman was completely just he was just
That proves my point.
strung out,
That proves my
coked out.
point.
And no, I'm just saying. And Jordan still did it. We ain't talking about nothing. We acting
Like I
they was
said, I already told you how much.
God.
I already told you my respect for Jordan. I already told you how much respect I got for the man. I already told you.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm just saying, man.
I just think Jordan made the Bulls better than everybody else. Like
Exactly.
I think that was Jordan, because if you look at the 90s, they did have some real good teams. When you look at that Orlando team, for example, with the year the Bulls won 72 games, the Bulls won 60 games, and the Bulls swept them. Like Seattle won 64 games.
I mean, Horace got that play, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But it's cool.
I mean, so Ron Harper didn't play in the closeout game in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Who cares? Like,
but Horace did play in that series. Remember when they beat him when Jordan first came back in the playoffs?
Yeah, Horace played that series.
And Horace told them, boys, it's not the same MJ, and MJ got wind of that. And what happened that next year, Coach, when they met him again in the playoffs?
He broke that team apart.
Thank you. Horace wanted to talk that shit. So MJ said, okay, all right. Wait till next year. So my thing is, if these teams are so trash, why were all of the games so close back then? Why were all of the games such hard-nosed games back then? Why were all of these teams? Why have we not had? We had a redeemed team. We ain't have a Dream Team Junior or Dream Team Part 2. We had a redeemed team. We had a redeemed team.
I don't think he's not saying that they was trash. That's Jarvis.
I know. No. Listen, I know.
I'm not saying they were trash. Yeah.
I know what CA is talking about. But right now, CA is on this. He's on this podcast right now, defending that post as well, and said the 90s was trash.
No, I didn't say the 90s was trash. I just said that the 90s wasn't the best era of basketball to me. That's all I said. I wouldn't say it was trash.
It is the second best era in basketball. Right now, we're living in the best era of basketball. Let's keep it G.
The 90s were better than the 80s.
Oh yeah.
The 90s across the board was the best decade period for cartoons, for music, for sports, for any and everything.
I'm talking about basketball.
I'm talking about the 90s.
I'm talking about basketball.
I'm talking about the 90s period.
It was cool. I'm talking about basketball. I'm just talking about,
Look,
the 83 76ers beat the Bulls in the 90s. Do the 83 76ers beat the Bulls in the 90s?
And let's remember, today's talented NBA players are complaining about fouls that they would not have gotten back then, and they talking about that they need today as well with these touch fouls and these calls that they're looking for and acting as well. So even though I know that they had the same calls back then because they was just getting clotheslined, literally. So that's why they had to implement some kind of system or structure. But though, like I get it. We have talented players, but cats just get beside themselves with some of these posts. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, to me, he went overboard with that post. I mean, John Stockton was a great player. Like we ain't gonna like that. We got to stop that.
Who said it wasn't so. I respect the PCA, but when he said practice squad, dog.
That was overboard. That was overboard. Yeah.
How long was Jared Dudley playing in the league?
Yeah.
Hey, since we're on the Bulls, let's talk about the Bulls. Today's Bulls. Let's talk about the Bulls' success, and I want to talk about another team. Let's throw in Washington. Bulls and Washington. Coach, I'm gonna start off with you. Can the Chicago Bulls and Washington Wizards keep this success, and both of these teams make the playoffs?
No. All right. We're talking early NBA basketball season right here. And right now they're actually playing pretty good basketball. I actually got to catch a Chicago Bulls game the other night. They actually play pretty good basketball. Is it sustainable? I don't think so. I'm a big I was always a critic of Lonzo Ball because again he played for the Lakers. So I got to watch that his inefficiency as far as shooting the basketball. He has gotten better. I really think that was missing in Chicago, a legit point guard. Again, I think shooting is still going to be an issue for them. I think the Washington Wizards and with Bradley Beal, man, somebody free Bradley Beal, please. Free that man. what he's being subjected to for the last few seasons has just been atrocious. I don't think it's sustainable. I think the East has gotten a whole lot better. It's a whole lot deeper, and I honestly don't think neither one of these teams make the playoff. I think they finished 9-10. I told you on the first podcast, my team to come out the East that didn't make the playoffs will be the Hornets. I think again they're going to be exciting to watch. They just lost another guy to injury, so again that's going to hurt their depth. But again, I don't think they're sustainable. Again, going to be fun to watch. They're going to be something that can grow together. But I just don't think it's sustainable. Now, again, I like the Washington Wizards team that they've put together. Kyle Kuzma looks like the guy that I said he was. I was one of the few guys that wasn't upset that we kept him when everybody said, man, trade everything for Anthony Davis. I did like Kyle Kuzma. But he's not the problem, but he's not the answer either. Montrez is your energy guy. He has a bigger role this year. Have the ball in his hands a little bit more. I think that was a big thing when he played for the Lakers. He didn't feel that he got his touches, which again, when you play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you're really not going to get your touches. Suck that shit up. But he's not a bad basketball player. I like him since he played at Louisville. But again, is it sustainable? I highly doubt it, and I don't think neither one of them make the playoffs.
And who is this? The Bulls and who else?
And the Wizards.
And the Wizards.
Gotcha.
Jared, you still on, Jared?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your thoughts with the Bulls and Wizards' success? And do you think both of those teams can make the playoffs?
I don't think both of them are going to make the playoffs. I think one or the other. My betting money will probably be on the Bulls, mostly because of the young players that they have. I think work better together. It is early in the season. Like Coach said, it's early in the season. It's not a lot to take from it as far as team success, but I do think you can look at individual success and see, can these individual players sustain it going forward? It's like, somebody asked about Harrison Barnes the other day. It's like Harrison Barnes probably won't sustain their success because that's not his role. But I think the roles that Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan, the roles that they're playing, that's going to be their roles going forward. So they are playing their roles well. They're playing, in some cases, they're playing their roles better than expected. So even if their numbers or their production drop, I think it won't drop to a point where it becomes, detrimental to the team or anything. As far as the Wizards, I like what Kyle Kuzma's doing. I've been a huge critic of Kyle Kuzma, but it's more so where Kyle Kuzma was and what he felt like he was in that spot. You couldn't be the guy you think you were in the spot that you were playing. And the opportunity that you got in LA, you didn't take advantage of. But I did think once he would probably be a legitimate starting power forward out the gate, especially since Hachimura was hurt to begin the season or whatever. I thought, okay, he's going to get run. He's going to play well, and he's doing that. Montrezl Harrell, he looks like sixth man of the year. Montrezl Harrell, Bradley Beal is playing well. I think this is the best team they've gotten around Bradley Beal in his career. But that being said, I think, everybody's like free Bradley Beal. Is like, this probably the first year, maybe the second year. Well, yeah, probably the second year that Bradley Beal is actually getting built around. Before that, it was him and John Wall. So it was John Wall's team. Bradley Beal was the second guy. We go build from there, whatever. John Wall's been hurt. And they didn't really have any draft picks or anything because they were a playoff team at the time. So John Wall gets hurt. They don't have a lot of high draft picks. They don't have a lot of capital to spend because they spent their money on John Wall. And it's like, so their first year, Bradley Beal's averaging all these points, but there's nobody on their team. They go out and get Russell Westbrook as like a Band-Aid. Like, we can get another star player. that doesn't really work. So this is the first year really they're like, oh, we can get some people around Bradley Beal. And the players that they put around Bradley Beal work. And they're playing well. Now, do they sustain it? I don't know. I don't think Montrezl Harrell kind of maybe might take a step back. In reality, Montrezl Harrell probably might be the best person to sustain this because they starting center at the time got hurt recently, so he'll be out for a while. And they starting center from last year, Thomas Bryant, is still coming back from injury. So Montrezl Harrell probably going to have the most opportunity to maintain those minutes. When Hachimura comes back, Kyle Kuzma probably gets regulated back to the bench. And, you know, he might not lose minutes, but he won't be started. I think they can both sustain their numbers. I just don't think they'll both sustain success, but I'll put my money on the Bulls because I think the pieces that they have work better collectively, and they'll be fine. The East is better, but the East is just like other conferences has been in the past. Overall, it's better, but it's still, you know, a couple of top teams, and then everybody else kind of falls into there. It's like this year, the Bucks are still the Bucks. You assume the Knicks are going to get it together, and Miami's looking really good. Outside of that, the East is, you know, open for whoever. It could be the Hornets, it could be the Bulls, it can be Indiana, it could be a lot of people, you know. So the East overall is better, but it's still the same top teams like it is in every conference.
Got you. What's your thought? Yeah.
You know, I think the Bulls. I think they have a pretty good team. I think people are overrating them a little bit. You know, I think they have a good. Huh?
I said Shaquille Barnes.
Oh yeah, of course. You know, SB can be objective about that. But you know, yeah. I mean, I think they're overrating just a little bit. But you know, I like, you know, adding Lonzo Ball to that team. You know, I was hard on Lonzo Ball early on, but I see where his game is, and you know, it just is what it is. You know, I think he's pretty good at what he does. You know, he can facilitate a little bit, and you know, he's become a pretty good you know, spot up shooter, catch and shoot shooter. I mean, that's just what he is. You know, he's a low volume point guard that's just going to take, you know, occasional three here and there, you know, and I come to accept that, and he can play really good defense. And that's just what Lonzo Ball is, and I think that's perfect what the Bulls need. You know, and you look at Zach LaVine. Yeah, Zach LaVine got more around him now, so now he can play like Zach LaVine does, and you know, and still get them some wins. You know, Vuk is always going to be Vuk. You know, he's going to score, but he's not the greatest on defense. You know, Patrick Williams is out for the season. That's going to hurt them. But you know, and Kobe White's probably going to come back soon. But you know, he may be a plus off the bench. You know, they have a pretty good roster. I mean, I think they'll be a 6-7 seed, but I mean, I think they're a first round exit. You know, at the end of the day, but I think they're a solid team. And the Wizards, you know, they got a solid roster. I mean, I think they'll be a playing team, but you know, and maybe you're lucky they make the AC, but I don't think they'll make the playoffs at the end of the year. You know, I just think, you know, they got some good young pieces, but I don't think that roster is just it's not a playoff roster.
All right, Jordan, what's your thoughts on the Wizards and Bulls and them making the playoffs?
I think the Wizards squad, mine's gonna be quick. I know we got other stuff we gotta discuss. I think the Wizards squad is gonna is taking it personal for all the fight that they got last year. I know we all saw the meme as far as them the Shanghai Knights being shipped overseas. And, I know that we all thought that, like, you know, the Wizards were about to be an instant lottery team immediately. But Kyle Kuzma's on his revenge tour, even though he's a nice regular season player, but at the same time still making a name for himself. I also will say is that this is also adding to the point that I've made about the gift and the curse of playing with LeBron James. Because you have to submit your game to his game and style of play, and you have to work within his system. And once you leave it, you can flourish and be your own player, but it's depending on what you want to do. Stay on this team and possibly win a title, or you want to make a name for yourself and have your own career. You got to pick your poison. But what still baffles me is that Frank in this year, besides Westbrook messing up, just like with Houston, I also think that it's not to take away from the bubble championship, but I also think that that was kind of a not a fluke, but I still think Frank Vogel needs to be tested, in my opinion, because he has a lot of talent right now with the Lakers, and he has to make it work. And I'm saying that and bringing all that up because for you not to play Montrezl Harrell at all, or pretty much not much during that Phoenix series, made
Crazy.
no sense to me. That made no sense to me. When you needed some kind of energy, some kind of production, some kind of substance, just in general. Like the Lakers looked flat. They was already coming off of injuries. They're already kind of tired. They just looked flat. Montrez could have done that for you. Look what he's doing right now in Washington. So I still don't understand Frank Vogel's mindset with not playing him. I think the Wizards could potentially fight for an 8th seed, depending on how the rest of the season plays out. If they get some trades or get some picks, and maybe go do something else. But as far as the Bulls are concerned, I see them being a playoff team. As CAG said, losing Patrick Williams is going to hurt for sure, and of course when Kobe White comes back and works within that system, but they playing defense for one. Caruso, they call that boy Young Goat, young Jordan. They said if Caruso was born in the '90s, earlier, we'll be wearing Air Carusos. So I think that they're still going to make the playoffs, but the Wizards could obviously fall out before the Bulls do. But I see the Bulls making the playoffs. And the last team that I'm gonna say as well, to not get too off subject, but the Miami Heat is looking, even though it's early, but their defensive presence right now and how they're impacting teams is interesting and it's scary. And I'm happy to see it because that's one of the teams I like to watch. But it pissed me off last night. I have LaMelo Ball on my fantasy team, and that boy finished with 5 points. And 2 for 14. So I was highly upset last night, and I'm losing right now. So that's a whole nother conversation. But I feel like the Wizards could fall out, but I see the Bulls making the playoffs.
All right, hey Jared, I'm gonna start with you with this next topic because I know you got a strong opinion about this one. Now I'm gonna go to you next, Coach, because that's your squad. To touch bases on what Jordan just said about the Lakers, I always thought that Russell Westbrook, from the start, Russell Westbrook and LeBron James wasn't going to work. And the reason I think that is because when you trade for a player like Russell Westbrook, you trading for those, for that energy he brings, for those triple doubles, 12 assists, 13 rebounds, 20 points. But I feel like him playing with LeBron, he's not going to get that. So my opinion is, what's the point of trading for him? Because what you still will get, you're gonna get those turnovers. And I don't think him and LeBron on the court at the same time, that takes away from his game. So I think you either gotta have them not playing at the same time to get that full effect of Russell Westbrook, or you gotta just call it what it is. What it is, it's gonna fail. I think him, LeBron, and Russell Westbrook, I think they will fail playing together. I just don't think they fit. 2 superstar players. I just don't think they fit. Jared, what's your thoughts on the Lakers with LeBron and Russell Westbrook?
So I thought the trade for Russell Westbrook was really weird, especially the way it happened. Like, I get a report that they're finalizing the deal to trade for Buddy Hield, and then 5 minutes later, the Lakers trade for Russell Westbrook. I was like, oh, this was a inside job. Like, that's my homie. We trading for Russell Westbrook. We ain't worried about Buddy Hield. The thing about Russell Westbrook, and I know this sounds like a ridiculous comparison, so hear me out when I say it. But the reason why it doesn't work with Russell Westbrook is the same reason why even in the championship run, Rondo had to go to the bench and he couldn't be the starting point guard. Rondo, if he's nothing else, he's a facilitator. He's not a high percentage shooter. He's not a high volume shooter. But he's a facilitator. He's a really good facilitator. But everybody likes point forward LeBron James. It works. Of course it does. They won championships like that. So LeBron James taking the ball out of LeBron James' hands is not smart. So any player that requires that any player's whose success requires them to take the ball out of LeBron James' hands a lot is not a player that works with LeBron James. Rondo had to go to the bench and play the second unit because the starting point guard, he needed the ball in his hand to be effective. Russell Westbrook is the extreme version of that. Triple-double machine. He can get assists with the best of them. He can get rebounds. He has all the energy. He can score. However, he's a high turnover player. But he needs the ball in his hand to be Russell Westbrook. There are players who get moved without the ball. Russell Westbrook is not one of those players. LeBron James is not really one of those players. I'm not saying LeBron can't do it, but that's not the most effective LeBron James. The most effective LeBron is point forward LeBron. That's what wins games. That's what the Pat Riley way of thinking was like. LeBron James got the ball in his hand. We go get shoes around him. He gonna make the right play. Boom. That works. Taking the ball out of LeBron James' head and putting it in Russell Westbrook, it doesn't work. It doesn't even work without LeBron James. Because he's Russell Westbrook is a player that plays with a lot of energy, but not a lot of control. And so you look at a player like, for example, for his career, even though he's been hurt for a couple of years, but for his career, John Wall averages 9 assists a game. And you don't even realize that John Wall averages that many assists because you start thinking about John Wall in the early days of the Wizards. Like, man, was John Wall really getting assists like that? Yes, he was. And that was kind of the success of the Wizards at the time, even though they wasn't like playoff successful. But the reason why they were relevant is because John Wall controlled the pace of the game and got assists like he did. But Russell Westbrook can get assists too. But and if he get 13 assists, he can also get you 10 turnovers. And it's like, okay, well, is that really helpful? If I'm gonna get 10 turnovers with my 10 assists, so you see that game against OKC, it's like no, all the blame is not on Russell Westbrook, but a lot of it is because 10 turnovers don't do you any favors, you know. And we've seen that in the past. We've seen it with his time in OKC. When in that year they averaged a triple-double, they got to the playoffs and they got embarrassed in the first round. Every year. He averaged a triple-double for 3 straight years. And 3 straight years, they got first-round exit. And then he played well in Houston as far as shoot numbers. And then he was hurt in that first round in the bubble. And then in the second round, you know, trying to play yourself back into the game, you already has a turnover player. Doesn't help. Then you get to the Wizards. Oh, he got all this attention. The same attention he was getting at OKC. He's exciting to watch. He's fun to watch, man. I gotta catch a Lakers game to see Russell Westbrook. I haven't seen him play. I think he's fun to watch. But is it conducive to winning when it matters? The answer to that is probably no. One or two things is going to happen for the Lakers if we're dependent on Russell Westbrook to be any different than what Russell Westbrook has always been. Is either Russell Westbrook is getting shipped out at some point, and I really don't think LeBron James is going to want that because of the manner of which he got there, or the Lakers are going to come up short in the pursuit of a championship. And I don't know when that comes. That can come in the first round, second round. It come to the conference finals. It can come in the finals. And people are going to still look at it like, oh, man, going into next year, they're going to be great because they got this far. But I don't know if you win with Russell Westbrook as your starting point guard. It's like, especially with a player like LeBron James, who's most effective as a player, and the team is most effective. Well, LeBron James is the facilitator because LeBron James is a better facilitator than than Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook may get more assists, but LeBron James can do it with less turnovers. I think that's what people get confused with these triple doubles. It's like a facilitator can get you efficient numbers, and they might not always be efficient as far as percentages, but he can get you wins by being that facilitator. Assist person can get you a lot of assists. Kendall Marshall from years ago had good assist numbers in the regular season. He's been out of the league for how long? It's like you can get assists. Anybody get assists, but are you facilitating the ball well? Is it conducive to winning? Is it winning games? I don't know if that's the case with Russell Westbrook long term. And I think the Lakers have to figure that out, and they have to figure that out quick. I think first 15 games, you got to figure out how are you going to use Russell Westbrook, because so far it's been hit and miss. And in the Western Conference and in the NBA in present day, you got to be more hits and misses. And they're about 50-50 with Russell Westbrook now.
My only rebuttal to everything you just said, the turnovers, the first round exits, the years he played with whatever in the playoffs, the turnovers in the playoffs, that's still more playoff runs and turnovers committed than my goddamn Pelicans in the last 2 years.
Hold on, I got a rebuttal too. All those turnovers, but he was supposed to work with James Harden in Houston. But we ain't gonna talk about that. You proved everything you just said. You proved my point for me.
James Harden had the same problems, but go on.
I'm about to say, let's not. I'm about to say, if I'm not mistaken, Harden.
We done with James Harden.
When y'all done with James Harden, y'all better be done with this Wade topic too. Take it all, be done with all of it.
Hey, July, who's the all-time leading turnover leaders in NBA history?
LeBron James. Keep going.
Hey, I'm just saying we talk about turnovers like some of the best don't do that shit, man. I mean,
I'm gonna talk about that. To me, like I'm a tad bit biased. Because I'm not gonna lie. Russell Westbrook, he's one of my favorite players in the league. Like, I genuinely enjoy watching Russell Westbrook. But it's just sometimes he just doesn't play winning basketball. It's hard to say, because you love watching him so much, but a lot of times he just doesn't contribute to winning basketball a lot of times. It's just his style. He's a great player, and you can't take that away from him. But his style of basketball, it doesn't lift up your teammates. It's just his style of basketball. It doesn't lift up his teammates. It's just what it is. His triple doubles. I think that they definitely. You can say, oh, they do triple doubles. But they definitely contribute to winning, because his triple doubles, his team almost always wins if he gets a triple double. So you can't say triple doubles don't contribute to winning. But at the same time, it's only so long you can put up a triple double and win your team games. It's just not possible. But with Russell Westbrook, I'm not gonna say the Lakers are gonna fail yet. I still have to see more to judge. To me, I had to wait. Until they hit the 15 game mark to kind of give an opinion on what the Lakers are going to look like. Because to me, they're going to struggle regardless of what Russell Westbrook looked like. To me, that just adding a guy like Russell Westbrook to any team is just, you're just going to struggle. Or to any team with stars like that, like a LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they're just going to struggle early on, because those guys, they all three of them require the ball. So it was just bound for a disaster to happen early on. It's just that was just going to happen. Regardless if you wanted that or not happen. But I think possibly if they space out their minutes better, it could be effective. But to me, if they're all in the court all the time, it's just, I don't see how it's gonna work unless Russell Westbrook completely changes his game. Russell Westbrook, he's gonna have to be a more controlled player. Sometimes I've seen it, but it's not gonna happen. But sometimes with the Lakers, you'll this game, in some of the games I've seen early on, to me, Russell Westbrook, he's shown the ability to play controlled and just facilitate the ball, but then in the second half he'll go back to Russell Westbrook. So it's just it's just gonna be hard for it to work. But I'm not gonna put it off yet. But it's definitely not looking like the best recipe for success in the future so far. I can't lie.
The Heat started off very slow that first season. The Heat
Hey,
started
come
off
on, we're
very
not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there.
That's different, Jordan. That's definitely
That
different.
shit dead.
what I'm saying is
You had three
players
superstars, you had two superstars and an all-star in their
just
prime.
but what I'm saying is also in their prime, what players had to do, somebody had
LeBron
to
ball.
submit and somebody had to play their role. People had to submit. Coaching was a factor as well, and adjustments going to have to be made. So to
Nah,
me,
bro.
I feel like I honestly feel like we talked about the last podcast, Westbrook needs to play with the second unit. There's
I was just about to say that.
no reason why LeBron and Westbrook got to be on the floor at the same time. They both facilitate first, both of them,
You know,
or they both look to facilitate. I'll say that much.
I'm not even
Go
gonna
ahead.
go that far.
Go ahead, Cole.
I'm just saying as far as right now. So
Listen, as a Laker fan, and I'm just gonna rebuff that as a Laker fan. All right. Currently constructed, the Lakers cannot win a championship as currently constructed for one reason. Melo needs to invite Westbrook over, pour him up a glass of wine, and say, "Hey, bro, this is your last fucking shot. All right, if you don't get this shit corrected, you're gonna be out of the league, bro. You're gonna be bounced around, and people gonna buy you out your contract like the Hawks did me, like the Rockets did me. All right, the only way this shit can work, Russell Westbrook has to swallow his pride and come off the bench. That is the only way this shit can work. Westbrook, like I say, I love his intensity, love his heart, but he does not play basketball that is conducive to winning. Everybody says, "Oh, Steph Curry's not a point guard; he's a two guard." Russell Westbrook is actually a two guard. He played two guard all his life. He played it in college. He's a two guard. When he got to OKC, the best iteration of that team is when James Harden handled the basketball and Kevin Durant and Westbrook played off of James Harden. That's when they were at their best. Putting the ball in Westbrook's hands is a recipe for disaster because he doesn't look to facilitate first. That is a byproduct of him running into double and triple teams and them setting up a wall at the rim, and he kicks the ball out to shooters. That's how he gets so many assists. He is a slasher. He's a guy that gets to the goal. He's an alley guy. He's a guy that has to get off the second unit, him and Melo, and that's their job is to go and get buckets with the second unit. You have no other responsibilities to give the other point guard a tough time and to go and get buckets. The roster currently constructed for the Lakers with the youngest guy on the team, Taylor Hardens Tucker, is like 10 years younger than the second oldest guy in the league and on the team. 9 of our 15 guys that are currently signed to the roster 32 years or better. LeBron James is in the twilight of his career. Again, LeBron is hurt already. This is game 3. He missed game 3, and he's hurt already. I mean, Father Time is undefeated. We could say as much as we want about how he takes care of his body, but we're seeing the tail end of LeBron's career, and for that reason is one of the reasons why I think Russell Westbrook will be gone by the trade deadline. The nigga got rid of DWADE, and DWADE is his homeboy. You saw how fast his stint was in Cleveland. He got him the fuck up out of there. I think Russell Westbrook will be
the whole
gone.
squad he got up out of there.
He got him the fuck. I got y'all paid, but y'all gotta go. If y'all can't help me win, and LeBron knows that this is about he's on his last leg. I think Russell Westbrook will be moved by the trade deadline. I don't know the pieces that we're going to get back. To piggyback off of Jared, I was quite disappointed when I saw the Buddy Hield, that we're going to get Buddy Hield. I was very excited about that. The next thing you know, we get fucking Russell Westbrook. Again, I always loved his heart, his intensity, but I never wanted him on my team. Again, I always go back to that Golden State Warrior OKC series. It says a lot about you as a teammate that somebody would rather go to the team that beat you than to continue playing with you. It just is. Paul George, after signing a massive deal, man, get me away from here. Everybody says he's a great dude. He uplifts his teammates. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys that has your back. You just don't like playing with the guy. I mean, it is what it is. We all have people that we find cool. We just can't work with them. You know what I'm saying? You grab a beer with them, but you just don't want to work with them. And Russell Westbrook is one of those type of guys. He's one of those guys that is, I put him in the Melo, I put him in the James Harden category. Winning a title is not their biggest their biggest goal. Maybe Melo has changed now, being that he's older, but younger Melo, their goal wasn't to win championship. Their goal was to make a lot of money and get buckets and put up stats. I think Russell Westbrook will be fine in Orlando with a bunch of rookies where he could take 40 shots a game and be the man on the team. I think he'd be perfectly fine with it. But as currently constructed, if Westbrook doesn't come off the bench or we don't trade him, I don't think he gives us the added advantage that we need to beat a Nets or to beat the Milwaukee Bucks, because he is a liability late in games. He'll go the first 3 quarters with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. But you look up in the fourth quarter, he's 2 for 7 with 6 turnovers, and will take the biggest shot in the game from 3 and know he's a horrible 3-point shooter, and he'll do it every single time. So I mean, it's kind of depressing as a Laker fan, but hell, what can I do about it?
I will say though,
I mean,
thing, I seen somebody in the group or something in the comment section or something. They was like, "Oh man, y'all really want it?" Buddy Hill's like, "No, Buddy Hill don't need the ball to be effective. That's what they needed, was a player that didn't need the ball to be effective."
Hey, I give you the craziest next gen stat, and this goes back. I know you'll get pissed off. Over the last 5 years, the players that move the least without the ball in their hand, which means you just go stand in the corner and you get disinterested in the offensive floor of the game, was number 1, Russell Westbrook, number 2, James Harden. How the fuck was that going to work?
Hey, Coach. So I'm not a Lakers fan, but you know I'm a big time Melo fan. You know, I've been a Melo fan for almost 20 years. So I've been watching the Lakers, and it's just upsetting whenever I watch Russell Westbrook, the point guard of the team, to dribble the ball up the court for a couple of times. Nobody touches the ball. He take a mid range and miss it. Like, that's not point guard basketball. Like, you can't do that. Like, it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating, especially when that point guard is the one who grabbed the rebound. So literally nobody else touched the basketball.
Nobody
grab the rebound, push it up court, and take an ill-advised 27-footer with 19 seconds left on the clock, and you got to run down and play defense.
But I do disagree with you when you say Melo need to play with the second. Him and Westbrook need to play with the second unit. I disagree. I think Melo needs to play with LeBron more, because I was watching the game last night. I just seen possessions. You know, Melo was chilling. You know, LeBron, one of the best passers in the game ever, like, would get it to him so fast before the defender could react, and Melo would just shoot the 3 and make it. Like, I seen that a couple of times, and I think LeBron.
I will agree with you on that, King.
Let me clarify what I mean when they need to run the second unit. More of Melo needs to be not say the Ginobili role, because Ginobili played a whole lot of minutes, but what I mean is let Melo get his flow with the second unit, but he needs to be in the closing group. You feel what I'm saying? He needs to be on the floor with the closers. You know what I'm saying? Let him, because again, once Anthony Davis, because I kind of like how Frank Vogel is kind of staggering minutes early in the season. He'll let LeBron get the rest, and he'll let AD get the rest, and he'll bring them back a little bit later. Well, that's when Melo and Westbrook need to get their work in, but Melo does need to be in the closing group. I do agree that him and LeBron play very well together.
Buddy Hill will be a great fit for the Lakers until you have a few bad shooting games, and the sports group, the sports world, and all the analysts going to call him trash, sorry, and a waste of talent. Why did they trade for him? And he's going to be the Kevin Love of the Los Angeles Lakers.
You know, besides Melo, my biggest thing, I wish we'd have got better Buddy Hill and signed JJ Redick. That's what I was hoping as a Laker fan.
Then JJ Redick would have been called trash, a waste of talent. He ain't doing what he's supposed to, and he should be on the team with LeBron.
But I like JJ Redick, he knows his role. He's gonna sit in the corner with his hands like this until he get the ball.
And when he don't hit those 1 or 2 shots, he's gonna be a waste of talent. Sorry, shouldn't be in the league, and garbage.
I mean, Malik Monk. I mean, to me, Malik Monk should be that guy.
Should be. He's not.
I don't think Buddy Hill's the huge upgrade over Malik Monk. He's not, to me.
Well, I said that to say is that it's until you really produce. Because if y'all remember, Bosh caught flack for not quote unquote producing. Love caught the flack. And I feel as if, to me, it don't need to be another no. I think it's a nice glue guy. I think the Lakers need to change out some of the superstars and get a glue guy if you're going to get away with Russ, because we all know Bron does well with glue guys to where he can make them and produce for them and have them flow and work within the offense, in my opinion. Because anybody of value or a household name, if they don't produce, they're going to be called trash. The Bron Nation and the analysts and everybody else going to drag them through the mud because they're not producing
Because
78
people
points.
just look at stats, bro. They don't look at the game.
I know that's what I'm saying, and that's why I said that. I was trolling, but I'm just saying this being real. Like Box caught it, Love caught it, and everybody caught it all of a sudden when they didn't produce how they were supposed to.
Hey, so we're gonna talk about this last subject, and the reason I want to talk about this subject because I'm trying to speak it into existence. Ben Simmons, and what do Philadelphia do with him? Like, what do they do with him? My honest opinion, Coach, I don't know. Like when Kevin Love came out with the mental health thing, you know, I stuck by Kevin Love. I believed him. When DeMar DeRozan came out about being mentally not there sometimes, I believe DeMar DeRozan. I think he was really going through it. I honestly believe when Ben Simmons said that he wasn't mentally ready, I think that was a power play move so he could still get paid.
That's exactly. My bad. Continue. Finish. My bad.
Let's keep it G. Who told you that was gonna happen? Hey man, he's doing what he now. Again, let me clear this up because mental illness is a thing. And you don't have to just be diagnosed. God bless the truth. You don't have to be diagnosed clinically depression to have mental angst, to have a mental issue. I don't think that Ben Simmons was firstly one of the mentally toughest guys in the world, first and foremost. But I do think that he's reached a point and he has some good advising around him to claim mental distress through this situation. You can't refute it. Now, don't get me wrong. Philadelphia has done a great job of alienating him throughout this process. But I think that it was a great power play, claiming mental anguish. Also, tight back with no timetable for return to make sure that he continues getting money. Daryl Morey just needs to go ahead on and do himself a favor and trade him and get what he can from him. I think that this relationship is the other side of toxic. I don't think anyone in that locker room respects Ben Simmons, including his coach. I don't think Ben Simmons respects his coach or his co-star in Joel Embiid. I think they just need to go ahead on and cut bait. No, you're not going to get what you thought you was going to get for him. No, you're not going to get what you want for him. For the overall growth and development of this league, if you want to continue to keep your job, because you're getting paid about $7 million a year, Ben is getting paid about $15 million a year. You will get fired before Ben will get traded if the owner digs in. So they just need to go ahead and trade him, get what they can get from him. I still think he'll be a great fit in Golden State. I think the Portland CJ for Ben could work out, but I think they need to go ahead on and cut bait and just save everybody some time and money. And I almost bet the moment Ben Simmons get traded, he probably average a triple-double for like 3 months.
Hey, to rebuttal that real quick, what pieces are you giving up for Golden State, Coach?
You probably have to go throw in wins. I hate to give my guy Poole away because I kind of like the kid, Jordan Poole. You got to give him up. You're probably going to have to give up a future first rounder and an ancillary piece just to kind of make the salaries work.
Who was the first person you said?
Oh, I got a rebuttal on that one.
It's Wiggins.
To make that work money wise, you had to put Draymond in there, but you don't give away Draymond.
Wiggins makes $22 million.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You just got to make the salaries work in the NBA.
So it'll be Ben, Steph, Clay, Draymond, Wiseman.
You automatically become one of the best defensive teams in the league.
true.
I gotta
but
rebuttal
I know,
that.
I know Steph's ass gonna get ate the fuck up at. Ate the hell up at the 2 spot.
No.
I don't like that. I don't like that
You gotta.
spacing though.
You
That
play
spacing
him.
is
You
terrible.
play him at that point. You play him at point forward. You put Ben at the point forward, right? You put him at the 3. You keep Steph and Clay in your backcourt. You put him at the 3, and you have Draymond at the 4, Wiseman at the 5. You become an instant defensive.
And honestly, I could see that because that wouldn't be a bad fit. I would love this if it should happen. It'll be interesting to see how him and Draymond play off of each other by both of them being facilitating first players.
Exactly.
It'll be very interesting to see. It'll be hell on wheels for them to pass off both screen for Clay, both screen for Steph, or whatever.
Exactly.
I can see it working for sure. I honestly do. And to give my quick response and let it go around the panel. Coach said this last time, and I'm gonna reiterate that and regurgitate it. If you said that I was the reason we losing, if you said that, if you blame me as far as my production, if you said that I'm not happy here, or you blame me for this last playoff loss, if I said I'm not happy here, and both sides are on the same page, why are you now forcing me to play? And why are you now forcing me to be here? So I want to just reiterate exactly what Coach said. If I'm the deciding factor for everything, I haven't completed the process, I'm halting the process, I'm stopping the process, I'm the reason why the process isn't working, on all those reasons, and I don't want to be here now. The coach, as well as the other star player, has publicly outed me as well, and y'all should be my teammates. Why am I here? So Daryl Moore, I get what he's trying to not Daryl, whatchamacallit. I get what he's trying to do as far as get some out of the pieces or whatever. We're gonna play this game for 4 years. That's stupid. That's legit stupid to me. And honestly, once again, obviously you want big names, but glue guys are just as vital. If I'm gonna give a shout out to as July said, Mike Antone. If Tobias is as nice as he is, you only need glue guys around Tobias and Joel Embiid. You don't need no other big names. Let Tobias get his play and let Tobias get off, because Tobias is the number one the number one power forward in the league, and do it around that. But to conclude, bro, I think it's honestly dumb, and I feel like it's more of an ego in a swinging contest, or swinging contest between the two. And I'm not going to challenge to say he's not having mental angst or anxiety or depression or setbacks, but when he calculated and Rich pulled him to the side and say, "My dude, you still starting your NBA career. You don't have a lot of huge endorsements like that. You're not a known player around making all kind of deals, and the money you're about to lose for not playing and sitting out, you better show up."
11. He was going to lose $11 million by the end of November.
Exactly. Look, Rich sent him a text. Code 9. You need to be at my house, or we need to get on Zoom and talk immediately, because now you're messing with my money. Because if you don't get money, I don't get money. So
coach. So you said the Warriors will become the best defensive team, or one of the best defensive teams, but they would have problems with Draymond and Ben, on the court together. That would be something they would have to figure out. But
I don't think so.
But this is what I think. I think if you trade Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum, I think Portland becomes a better defensive team. With Norman Powell being in that backcourt with Dame, and then you still have Rojo, Covington, and you have Nurk. You have Ben, being that same role. I think Portland would have less to figure out than Golden State would. I think.
Go ahead. I mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I just think Ben Simmons would fit more perfect with Portland. I think it would be a more easier trade as well, because CJ, our best two players are CJ and Dame.
Right.
But the thing is, neither one of them play defense.
Not a look up it either.
Yeah, neither one of them play defense. So, and we're not going to trade Dame. We're not going to.
That's not. Yeah, it's not.
So CJ, as much as I love CJ, as much as I love him, for us to get better, I think, and I don't even think Ben Simmons is a better player than CJ McCollum. I don't even think Ben Simmons is a better player, but I think he's a better fit with Dame and Norman Powell. And I think that CJ for
you don't love CJ like you say you do, bro. Trying to get that man out of there. You don't love that man like you say you do, bro.
July, and this is why I say Golden State. One, just by osmosis, his free throw percentage will probably go up about 8 points, being around two of the greatest shooters of all time. I'm pretty sure we teach him a thing or two about shooting free throws. But now he becomes like the fourth option offensive. Can you imagine Draymond bringing the ball up and Wiseman and Simmons running down to the block to set double pin down screens for Steph and Clay, and then one of them gets to roll to the basket for an easy layup?
And then the slash, one of them slash off of that.
And one of them slashing off of that. Defenses would fucking lose their mind if both Steph and Clay were coming off them double pin down screens. And you got Wiseman who can hit a nice shot. He's great around the rim. And then you have a 6'10" guy just rolling to the basket.
And let me add to that, coach. Let me add to that, coach. If y'all really watch Golden State, they Golden State knows. Hell, the world knows they're going to either Steph or, of course, when Clay come back. How many times do they get easy layups for that slip of the screen and passing it right to the goal because they're all playing for the three pointer? So now when you put Ben into that equation, I asked Coach that question because I wanted to see if Coach was going to put Draymond into that equation, and that's why I think it would have been a challenge. But now he said,
wait a minute. I got 2 cents on the Ben Simmons thing. First off, just like y'all all reiterated, definitely take the mental seriously. You know, that's a serious thing. You don't want to downplay things of that nature. However, with the trade, I lean more towards the Portland because one, it works better in my opinion because Ben Simmons can be point forward by stand alone point forward in Portland. I don't know what Robert Covington's there for, but Ben Simmons playing in place of Robert Covington is probably a better fit or whatever. But
Rojo would be there just for exercise some nights, bro.
Right. Just like the dunk contest winner from last year that was there, whatever his name was, he was there for exercise every night.
Eric Jones.
Yeah, he was there for exercise every night. But he got his steps in on his Fitbit. But the thing is with Ben Simmons can be the point forward in Portland, and Dame can be the point, and they can do a lot of things and get Dame open, and they become better defensively. The reason why it doesn't work in Golden State for me is, first of all, Golden State was a top 7 defense last year with the injuries and people switching in and out of the lineup, so forth and so on. Andrew Wiggins played solid defense. If he had the name recognition for real, he probably would have made a defensive team last year. He went into in the top 3 in defensive player of the year, and this year he's playing really good defense again. If he's doing nothing else, he's playing good defense. And I don't know where they're ranked as far as defensive wise. It's only 5 games into the season, but they're 4-1. I'm pretty sure their defense is halfway decent. It's like what works for Golden State doesn't include a player like Ben Simmons. I can understand how you can do a lot of things to change around and make it work, but why do all that? It's like, for one, why trade Jordan Poole, yo young guard who, when Curry had injury problems last year, he stepped in and played really well. He gets into the starting lineup this year and playing good minutes, and he's playing really well again. And so when Clay comes back, you expect him to keep up that formula, and that's how Golden State has played on in the past is the way they're playing now to completely adjust.
Or Ben Simmons, who's better?
That doesn't matter. It's about
it does matter. You ask why would you change?
No. Just like Kenny said, CJ McCollum is better than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons fits better. So it's about fit, especially as an overall team. So if I like a player, and the thing about Golden State is, even if you're not a great shooter on the floor, outside of the center position, you're going to still take the shot. The thing about Ben Simmons is he's an unwilling shooter. I don't even know if he's a bad shooter. He's an unwilling shooter. So because of that, doing all this movement and things like that doesn't help you if when you open, you're not going to take the shot. So the same thing, you said, by osmosis, his free throw shooting gets better. I mean, that man played with J.J. Redick and Phoenix. I mean, shooting didn't get better. It's like,
so how does it help Portland if he's an unwilling shooter? At least in Golden State, he will be put in a
because
position
he becomes a facilitator and defender. Golden State don't need those things because Draymond Green does those things.
But
so you try to force a fit that's not there.
So again, how does it help Portland if he's an unwilling shooter? He has to shoot the ball at
because
some point.
What Portland needs is defense. They have offense. Golden State doesn't need defense. They're a good defense team too.
They will be trading half of their offensive power. They will be trading half of their offensive firepower.
I said if they trade CJ McCollum, they need some offense too.
Exactly.
You trade
CJ McCollum. You trade CJ McCollum. First of all, it probably will not ever be a straight up trade for Ben Simmons just for one player. So that's why it becomes a hassle in itself. So you trade several pieces from Golden State to get one player. So you deplete your bench, just a defender on the team that's already a good defensive team.
You wouldn't have to deplete your bench, bro. His value is not.
You getting rid of offense. You getting rid of offensive Jordan Poole, and you got to include another player, probably Andrew Wiggins. How does that benefit if they're already a good defensive team? They don't need those things.
Again,
it'll just be trying to force a fit when you got two players and Draymond Green and Ben Simmons do the exact same thing, except Draymond Green is done in the playoffs.
Answer the question: is who's the better defender after the winners of Ben Simmons? I think that's a no-brainer. Ben Simmons. So you get better defensively. If you're trading Portland's second best scorer, second leading scorer, about 28 points a game,
you go and trade Andrew Wiggins, who's a solid defender but a willing shooter, for a player who's a solid defender and not a willing shooter. That doesn't make sense.
He's not a solid defender. He's a great defender. He's an amazing defender. He almost won defensive player of the year.
Nothing defensively in the playoffs. That's why we're here.
And he gave Trae Young fits. Let's not go.
Trae Young gave him work.
Trae Young. So if you go back and watch that, most of Trae Young buckets came when Ben Simmons was not defending.
A lot of Trae Young buckets came from Ben Simmons. I can pull up all video of him flying right by Ben Simmons.
If you say so, bro, I know I saw the numbers. He was like 32%.
And just like you said, the numbers didn't lie, and the numbers lied all throughout the playoffs for Ben Simmons. The defense did nothing. The facilitator did nothing. Now he crying because he didn't play well, and now he wants to go to a team like Golden State.
Still average 9 assists. And still average 9 assists. Still average 9 assists.
But Ben Simmons is not a need for Golden State at all. They already a solid defensive team. You're trying to force a fit in an offense that doesn't play like that.
I don't get better defensively. That's the thing. I'm already good. Why get better? Let's just think like this.
No, you don't get better because your offense is suffering from a player who doesn't move.
How would your offense suffer when you have 2 of the 3 best shooters of all time? You're not asking him to score.
Mind you won't even get Klay Thompson until maybe December and January. So you still don't have that. So now you got to force this fit by taking your starting shooting guard out and Jordan Poole currently for Ben Simmons. Who's the other guard now?
If we've learned anything from the Warriors basketball, it's not a fit. That offense is conducive to whoever they can get fit. What about Harrison Barnes that couldn't hit the side of a backboard?
And so they traded him and got Kevin Durant in return.
Right, they traded for a better player. So you trade Jordan Poole for a better player. Thank you for proving.
You trade Jordan Poole, who's currently your starting shooting guard, when your other starting shooting guard is not back yet, and won't be back for another couple of months. So who's the fill-in if you also include Wiggins in it?
Did you hear what you just said? You trading your third shooting guard for a top point guard. For a
no, that's not what I said. I said you are trading your current starting shooting guard when your starting shooting guard is not there. He will not be there for several months at the current moment.
So then, and also
include Wiggins in it. So where are those other people coming from?
You didn't hear what I just asked you. If when Clay comes back, where does Jordan Poole go?
When Clay comes back, Clay won't be back till what, December, January. So if you
Hey,
trade
but this
Ben
is the
Simmons,
NBA.
who is filling
cares if
in?
he's playing right now? You're not answering. You act like you've never watched NBA basketball before. You think people care about basketball in November, December? Teams are filling themselves out right now. They want to play back for the stretch run.
I care about basketball, boy. In October, November, December, January.
You don't count. Look, you don't count.
Hold on, Coach. I just wanted to respond to your to trading CJ McCollum, getting rid of our offense. The reason we paid Norman Powell was to take that second spot eventually, because we came back with the same starting five. Like I told you last podcast, we came back with the same starting five that lost to Denver without Jamal Murray. So the reason we paid Norman Powell, we decided to extend them because we know that we moving on from CJ. So I think when we do trade CJ, whether it's for Ben Simmons or Pascal Siakam or whatever we decide to do, Norman Powell is going to fit in that second scorer that we need him to be.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd rather just trade him to a place that has abundance of scoring, and all they need to do is get better defensively and add another facilitator than trade half of my score. Again, CJ is a bucket for a guy that, you like we say, quote unquote, won't even look to shoot the basketball. So how does that help you?
Let me ask you this. Because Klay Thompson go be out. So if you trade for Ben Simmons now, along with Andrew Wiggins gets shipped out too, and Jordan Poole, who fills in for your other guard?
Damian Lee.
The guy that you traded for. What are you talking about? He played.
No. We are still missing a player.
No, there's basketball. There's only 5 people on the court.
They also got Damian Lee, and they still got Otto Porter too, bro.
So
no. There's guys on the bench that fill in.
If you trade for Ben Simmons, then you trade Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole to make the money work. So currently, Jordan Poole's in your starting lineup as your shooting guard, along with Andrew Wiggins as your small forward. So you go with Ben Simmons to fill in your small forward. So who comes in as shooting guard?
Nobody,
because Klay Thompson is out.
You're restricted, so nobody can come off the bench. There's a restriction in the NBA that people off the bench can no longer become starters.
So why would you take away the starter for somebody off the bench who's already not producing as much as a starter? That's why they're coming off the bench.
So Otto Porter's not a good NBA player to hold on to patch until Klay gets back?
Otto Porter, who's giving you 8 points a game, and you've traded away
from the bench,
that's giving you more than 8 points.
It's giving you 12 points a game.
I'm about to say,
you trading away. Come on, man.
Jared, in all fairness, Otto not getting the burn he should. In all fairness, though, bro.
Exactly.
I mean, so you can start Damian Lee if you want to.
Again, you try to have stopgaps and band-aids on a team that doesn't need a player like Ben Simmons, and it doesn't work. It becomes more of a hassle than what it needs to be.
I don't know if it doesn't work. To me, once you get to me,
Jared, I hear exactly what you're saying, honestly, and I understand what you're saying. But what coach is suggesting is not too far off and too slated. And I caught for July. Remember, I caught flack for it. I think a few podcasts back because I have multiple NBA teams that I watch. And in July, side note, I'm still waiting for him to come on this podcast. And this is another stab to him as well, and an invite, my brother, that I'm still waiting for you. But the Warriors is one of the teams that I watch and I like. And I'm saying that because I hear what you're saying. I really do. And the Warriors, besides Otto Porter and a few more changes on the bench, the Warriors pretty much came back with the same core squad that they struggled with last year. Now, to insert Ben Simmons and Draymond with Klay, Steph, and Wiseman, that would be very interesting to see because Ben Simmons is also going to crash the board, be a defensive presence, and then going to throw off a lot of schemes. He's also going to be able to be a facilitator and slash the goal. And like he said, I feel, though, you being around Steph, Klay, and Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr was a proficient shooter as well, and you don't even remotely develop any kind of a jumper, that's because you just don't care about hard work and work ethic, to me.
Ben Simmons been in the league for how long and hasn't worked on his jump shot his own self?
Well, apparently the formula to get your jump shot where it needs to be is to come to New Orleans for 2 years, let our boy Vincent work with you, get you a jumper like AD and Lonzo got, and then leave us high and dry to be losing in the West like we continue to do and not make the playoffs. But I'm not gonna get too upset right now and get
Yeah,
talked about.
to me, I think the Ben Simmons and Gold State can work. I mean, he don't even have to shoot, bro. I mean, if you just let Ben Simmons do what he got to do, facilitate a little bit, get to the basket. Like to me, the biggest problem with Ben Simmons in Philly, I just don't think Ben Simmons can be Ben Simmons with Joel Embiid. It's just impossible.
It's not about Joel. CA. It's not even about Joel. CA. Let
Yeah.
me stop you. It's not even about Joel Embiid, brother. Mike Antone told us it's about Tobias Harris.
Stop it, man. Stop it.
It's about him, though. So I want to make
Stop
sure
it.
that you understand that it's about Tobias Harris getting what he's
The
supposed to.
greatest power forward ever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just think we have this conception about Ben Simmons, and we don't look at how we can impact other teams. You know, with his skill set. To me, the way we perceive Ben Simmons is being hindered because of his fit in Philly. To me, with his fit in Philly, it's just not possible for Ben Simmons to be Ben Simmons. I mean, if you expect Ben Simmons to be Ben Simmons with Joel Embiid as the number one guy, it's just impossible. I mean, Joel Embiid commands the ball down low, and you can't expect Ben Simmons to succeed and excel with his skill set when you got a guy that pretty much just he covers the area that Ben Simmons dominates in. That's just not possible. I'm sorry.
This is my last input, and I'm gonna let y'all rock.
Yeah.
As crazy as it may sound, I wouldn't mind seeing a tandem of Simmons, Ingram, and Zion in New Orleans. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Once again, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Maybe.
CA. Right now, I don't know if y'all been watching the Pelicans, but we don't have much to work with at all. It ain't nothing going on in what we have right now either. That's a whole nother conversation.
I think the Pelicans screwed themselves by not keeping Lonzo Ball. Now they ain't got no real facility.
We definitely did, bro. But once again, July, put that on the next podcast. I don't want to get too worked up about these boys. So what I'm saying is I wouldn't mind seeing that. I saw earlier trade with him going to Sacramento and putting De'Aaron Fox on Philly. I feel like that could work as well. Just put him somewhere, let him just rock and start over officially fresh somewhere else.
Sacramento ain't gonna get rid of De'Aaron Fox. They get rid of Buddy Hield.
I know they're not. I know. I definitely see Portland and I see Golden State. What I don't see happening is the current how should I say, system set in place of forcing him to play in Philly. That's what I don't see working, because you're going to get more sweatpants showing up, cell phone in the pocket, and him walking out of practice early. So just trade him now, do what you can, get what you can, and stop forcing somebody to be there that doesn't want to be there and that publicly said that and that you also blame. And that's my last take on my end.
That's facts.
Hey, but next week on the podcast, we will get into the Pelicans, Jordan. We're going to talk about your Miami Heat squad as well, and just review the games that go on that play this week. The Lakers, they got two. They schedule weird. They got 2 home games back to back against the Rockets. I never seen that before. Like,
what?
I never heard that.
Yeah, like back to back.
Imagine being in the sales office trying to sell that package to somebody. Like, that makes no sense, dog, whatsoever. Hey, coach. Hey, look, I know you might miss them on Tuesday night, but you want to come Wednesday night? Hey, coach, I know you came Tuesday night, but it might be a better game on Wednesday to see the same damn team.
They got to be a buy one get one free game.
The Clippers are 1-4 right now, so we're gonna talk about them next week as well. I mean, Paul George, he gave us a 40 burger last night, but we still blew the ass out. We avenged that L we took earlier. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Clippers.
You already hit on the head with what you said on the post.
Hey,
that's all you had to say, bro. Reggie Jackson, Eddie, and Eric Bledsoe, like,
yeah.
Hey, July. I said, I saw this on another sports group, like I said, sports chat that I'm in on GroupMe. We can also discuss Ja Morant, Trae Young. Is Ja Morant, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, Luka, and who was the 5th one? They said I gotta see it. But as far as ranking them, who would you take and where they are right now as far as young point guards in the league?
Yeah, we could talk about that next week too. Oh yeah. But all right, fellas, nice chatting with y'all. Be back next. We're gonna be back next week. See it, like I always say, whenever you want to come on, the invite gonna be in the chat for you.
Coach
Yeah, appreciate
Jared, y'all don't take too many more of my points and my takes, dog, that I'm about to share literally right before I share it, dog. That's gonna stop.
I'm gonna let you speak first, man. I got you covered.
No, it's not just you. Coach 2 weeks. Coach is literally 2 weeks running, bro. I be having stuff. I'm typing up. I'm trying to get my Shannon Sharp on over here. You know what I'm saying? Doing research and everything. Coach come. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, brothers. Is like you gotta remember. You gotta think that they're gonna have this, and this is gonna happen as well. And you gotta incorporate this right before I'm about to say it, dog. You're not about to take my hard work anymore, brother.
My bad, folks.
All right, fellas, man. Y'all have yourself a blessed one, fella.
Already, y'all enjoy your weekend, fellas.
I mean,
All
be
right.
easy.